what is something you want to address in the culture?
Okay. I would say, again, I think that stigma of discussing money, right? Speaking to clients, discussing money, undervaluing themselves, DJs and musicians undervaluing themselves, kind of creating a lot of noise in the space that really talented people that are business minded are having a tough time to cut through.
Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think Latinos have this difficult time talking about money?
I think, you know what it is? I think that we've been conditioned to think that money's the root of all evil, right? So I think for me, I could speak to myself, parents would always speak like that. And it would always be like, almost like, make yourself small. Like, don't rock the boat. Don't do anything. Like, you should just be happy to be there. Like, this is cool that you're even just doing this. Like, Adam, I would hear this all the time where it was like, oh my God, you're at Madison Square Garden. Like, people, they work their whole lives to just get that opportunity, but you're going to go and ask for a raise? You're going to go in there and tell them that you want more money? And well, that's crazy. And it was like this thing of like, the people that I saw in those spaces that were doing my job, that were maybe one step above me, their kids are in private school. They have 2 houses. They have a vacation home. Clearly, they didn't fear speaking about money, right? Finances were not an issue for them. They were not uncomfortable to ask for a raise and to get what they felt that they deserved, right? So for me, ultimately, I think it's like one of those things where we have to kill that stigma of being like, we don't deserve that. Like, we just deserve to just be in the room versus being the people that really run the room, right? Yeah. And I think we have the abilities in so many ways, the skill sets in so many ways to be able to be those executives in charge, be those decision makers in charge, be at the top of that kind of segment, right? And then get paid appropriately, you know, like accordingly rather.
Yeah. And I think right now, and I drop these stats often, but Latinos have 3.4 trillion buying power. Like, that's freaking huge. Huge. We're the youngest generation in this country. And what? The youngins, they drive culture. They drive everything. Like, they're the ones who's making the purchases.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
We also, Latinos are purchasing the most online. We consume the most content. Yeah. Like, literally, we have the power to, like, make waves out here.
No question.
And having that data at your disposal should make you walk into rooms more confidently, like, you know, and have more orgullo. Like, you are that one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have the power. Like, start demanding more. Like, you deserve more. You've earned it. Like, our ancestors have earned it for us. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So how can we do this? Like, how? So I'm dropping data, but what else? Right. Like, how can we get people comfortable talking about money?
So I think, again, opportunities like this for people to listen to these conversations, I think we ourselves amongst our own small circles, right? Like, we always think about this huge impact that we can have. I'm like, I talk to my team about this. I talk to every DJ that I work with about this. Like, these are conversations that's the first thing. I give lessons. I do things like that. Anyone that I work with, I'm always preaching to them like what you're exactly saying, right? And I do my best to hire always Black and brown people and give them opportunities that I know that they wouldn't normally get to have. You know, let's say, for instance, going to the U.S. Open and playing the U.S. Open, you know, but everybody, I mean, every demographic I try to always think about and be mindful of, right? When I'm hiring and bringing people onto these opportunities. But for me, I just always think about it in terms of the fact that, like you said, you're trying to speak to this customer segment, right? And if you're speaking to this customer segment, who better that knows their voice than, you know, a New York native who's also Boricua? Like, this is how I got the NYCFC job. And once I had that conversation, once it was known that they were like, this is exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for an authentic voice, someone who knows this group of people, this demographic, and you have the data. Okay, so now you have the data to support it. You know how valuable this is to speak to them the right way, to make sure that we hit the right points, to make sure that they feel seen, feel understood, feel like they heard their music, feel like they're represented in this space so that they could continue to come back and support. Right? You guys want their support, right? From brand's perspective, they want the support in the form of dollars and form of, you know, kind of like that exchange, right? So for me, I think that starting off with your family and friends is going to be the best way, and then grow that out. You know, as your network grows, make sure that these conversations are always being had. And again, you being at the forefront of this, like running it up and bringing up the conversation, is going to start the dialogue that's going to, like, light bulbs are going to go off, God willing, in people's heads. They're going to be like, no, what I'm bringing to the table is way more valuable than I've given it credit to, than I've given thought about. You're not just, a musician. You're not just a makeup artist. You're not just this or that. You are someone who deserves to be in these spaces because you put in the work. And anyone else with that level of experience would get, triple what you would get off the top without having to negotiate for it. They would just offer it to you.
Yep.
There's a lot of people in positions of power that just get offered these things off the top. They don't have to negotiate anything. It's nepotism. It's this, it's that, whatever those things are, right? Like, and that's it. And I have friends who have qualifications and experience that would, that lapse these people, and they're sitting there having 3-4 rounds of conversations with these people to try and get what this person got with no effort, right? And so oftentimes we got to make that extra effort,
Yeah. And sometimes you may not be able to talk to your family and friends because they just don't get it. Maybe they have, a scarcity mindset, crab in a barrel. Sometimes it's your environment. Maybe you're a visionary and you're thinking bigger. And I think at that point, you got to get in communities where they are willing to talk to you about money, where it's kind of like super natural, super normal. Even if you don't speak at the beginning, but just witnessing people talking about money so fluidly. Like I remember when I first learned about like consulting and going after corporate contracts, I was at this conference in Napa, California, and I'm sitting with this Latino consultant, and he's telling me how he just locked in a 6-figure contract for like 3 months of work and speaking so nonchalantly, like it was no big deal. And I'm thinking in my head, like, wow, like I make 6 figures in a year. This dude is making 6 figures in 3 months. Like, this is crazy. But because I had the exposure and access now I know, oh, that's possible. Like, oh, that's no big deal to talk about something like that. Like,
there you go.
It's pro quo, right?
Right.
But you never really are able to get comfortable with something like that unless you insert yourself in those type of environments to expose you to those type of conversations.
No question. And as you mentioned, like my upbringing I didn't have any examples of anyone that would ever be financially savvy or have this information that I needed. And through those relationships that I gained from working at the Scratch DJ Academy, that DJ, like I mentioned, Todd Malice, I'm hearing him, he's answering an email on the phone about Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week. And he's like, yeah, Mo, they're offering me $3,000 to go DJ for 2 hours, which my head exploded. I was like, well, what do you mean? And he's white t-shirt, like, he's so casual about it. He's just everything about it was very casual. And I was like, I'll be spinning, like trying to have this conversation or like, you know what I mean, at the time, right? And so it was great to see those examples of people that, again, had no type of fear over these conversations.
Right.
And that kind of like, again, you couldn't really, it's very difficult to see yourself in it, right? Until you actually are going through the process and all that. And it's okay to fail. It's okay to make those mistakes. You want to fail as quickly as possible and as early as possible, right? To cut down your time, but absolutely learning from those mistakes and where you left money on the table the prior time. Again, seeking that community, seeking some sort of mentorship where that person, you can check in with them and say, hey, I've got this opportunity. Can I run it by you? Now I have those people that are doing, numbers. Like they're way more successful than I am at the moment. And those are the people that I take advice from. Those are the people that, like, when you see the value in, I see the value in having those group of people around me that I'm not the smartest guy in the room. This, you guys got it. Like, I'm learning. So I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you guys speak. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to go out and practice it. And then when I have, some more information, now I can contribute. Now I can help the next guy. You know what I mean? And I think that's what it all comes down to.
I love that. So DJ Mode, tell the people where they can find you, how they can stay connected to you.